Boom! We are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the Nolan Hawkeye Anthony YouTube channel, and I thank you all for being here, wherever you may be, and of course, however you may be listening. Well, today is, of course, Sunday, which means the Iowa Hawkeyes squared off against the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. It's been about the only thing that Rutgers has been good for when it comes to their entrance into the Big Ten. That, and of course, I guess recruiting a little bit, but in reality, that has only benefited schools like Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State. Not really much for Iowa, Wisconsin, teams like that. But I digress. Irregardless, Iowa absolutely needed a victory against Rutgers. They were, of course, on a I believe, a three-game losing skid coming into this game. So let's just go ahead and dive right into it. By the way, if you're not subscribed, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Continue to help this channel grow. The growth of this channel over the past year has just been amazing, and I am so grateful to each and every one of you. The donations, by the way, if you want to donate, you guys can hit the donation sign somewhere on this video here and support your boys' copy habits. Either way, I am just grateful for you being here. So let's look at the Iowa Hawkeyes here, their last couple of games. It all started with their canceled game against Northwestern. And yes, it was a bummer because when you're a team like Iowa, especially with what Iowa had been going through or had going on up until that point, you don't want to have a game postponed, especially a team like Northwestern where it's definitely a winnable game. Northwestern doesn't appear to be a terrible team this year, but it was definitely a winnable game. Iowa was on a 3-game win streak, or actually, yeah, no, 4-game win streak heading into their contest against Northwestern. And who knows if they pick up that victory over Northwestern, who knows how their confidence is, who knows how their, I guess, their mojo, their groove is going into the Ohio State game. Either way, unfortunately, the game was postponed. They lose to Ohio State, just absolutely could not stop Ohio State from getting any bucket. Ohio State got every bucket they wanted. They lost a heartbreaking game to Michigan State. So they were on a 2-game losing streak. I thought it was 3. Michigan State, the game against Michigan State was definitely a winnable game, in my opinion. Iowa just could not get it done on the road. And that brings us to Rutgers, which is why this was a must win for the Iowa Hawkeyes to stay on track. And this is compounded by the fact that Iowa, their rescheduled game against Northwestern is coming up, which again, as I said before, is a very winnable game. So now that they beat Rutgers, they can very well get 2 games in a row and climb back over 500 in the Big Ten standings before their showdown against Illinois. I believe that is a home game as well. Illinois has not been as good as some people anticipated they were going to be coming into this season. But either way, let's pull up the game here. Aaron Eulis had a magnificent game for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Tony Perkins played well. Connor McCaffrey played well. Chris Murray doing Chris Murray things. 24 points, 6 rebounds. Philip Obracha had a very tough night, afternoon against Rutgers. Patrick McCaffrey was inserted back into the lineup for the first time in a couple of weeks. And I have been kind of 50-50 when it comes to his return. When we first heard that he was going to be out, I thought that he was going to be out for the entire season. Because the way that it came off to me was that this was a severe enough situation to where it was going to be indefinite. Now, I suppose indefinite means it can be a short period of time or a long period of time. It really just depends, which is why it's indefinite. But I think most people, when they hear indefinite, lean more towards the longer side of things. And that's kind of where I was at too. I assumed that it was going to be a long absence for Patrick. Anything longer than what we just saw would risk a major cohesion issue if Patrick McCaffrey were to return to the lineup as he did. So this was kind of the sweet spot. Anything longer than this, and it was going to be a problem. Somebody asked me on one of my comments whether I believed Iowa was better or worse with Patrick McCaffrey. And, realistically, it just depends. It really, really does. Because let me see what's going on here. There we go. Realistically, it just depends on many, many different things. We have definite against Michigan State and against Ohio State, we have definitely seen where Iowa misses Patrick McCaffrey. They miss his length, his athleticism, his shooting ability from the outside. But in a way, at times, Iowa is actually better when it comes to shooting the ball when he's not in there because it gives Peyton Sandfort more minutes. In the end, it doesn't really matter whether Iowa is better or worse because either way, he's back into the lineup. And I think he's likely to stay there for the rest of the season. And the bigger question or the better question is how does this affect the minutes distribution for the Iowa Hawkeyes? And I mean, is Patrick McCaffrey going to be, is the goal to get him back into the starting lineup? Because as of before 2-3 weeks ago, he was Iowa's second best player. Is the goal for him to get back into the starting lineup? Is Peyton Sandfort going to continue to play 20 plus minutes for the Iowa Hawkeyes? How will this affect Iowa? And it's even harder to answer because Iowa has a positionless kind of offense / team. And Fran, in general, it's hard to guess with him how a player is going to impact minutes because it really just depends game to game or week to week. So we will see. Time will tell how this will affect the Iowa Hawkeyes. I think it's likely Josh Dix will lose some playing time. It'll likely be Peyton Sandfort and probably Aaron Eulis as well. The big winner in all of this is Connor McCaffrey. Connor McCaffrey is absolutely the big winner here for the Iowa Hawkeyes. And he's done excellent with his minutes. I told you guys last year when the season ended for the Iowa Hawkeyes, I said that a huge bonus for the Hawks would be if Connor McCaffrey came back because what we saw at the end of last year out of him, the consistent three-point shooting, his ability to compete, his composure, his leadership out there is just very hard to replace. And if we could get that extra version of Connor McCaffrey, the guy who knocks down three-point shots and can actually put the ball in the hoop, that is an added benefit big time. So time will tell how this will affect the Iowa Hawkeyes. Let's look at the team stats here. It's shocking that Iowa won by double digits, considering the fact that they shot 5 less shots than Rutgers and shot a worse percentage all around than Rutgers. They still allowed Rutgers to shoot 50.8% from the field. It's very frustrating. And I've told you guys, it's not going to change. Back about a month ago, when I said that it was like that the situation was what it was, and Fran was not going to change. Josh Gundele wasn't going to get more minutes. Ryan Mulvey wasn't going to get more minutes. There are some people who commented to me and said, well, it's only that way because of Gundele's injured. Well, no, again, it's not. They're not going to get minutes. Fran McCaffrey is rolling with Philip Obracha and the main top 8 or 9 guys that he has. And he's perfectly okay with Iowa on some nights giving up some points in the paint to the opponent or to the opposing team. And it's frustrating because it seems like it's an easy solution to just give some more minutes and help develop the two 6'10", 6'11" guys that you have on your roster. But Fran McCaffrey doesn't appear to want to do that. So it is what it is. Iowa's defense was at times better today. Iowa's defense looked good against Michigan State the other night. But, you know, we've been here before. Iowa's defense over the past 5 years has been like this. It goes like this every single season. It's good at times, and then it goes real low, and it's very bad. Then it's good, and then it's bad. It's never a consistent thing. In my judgment, Iowa has the athletes. They have the length. The only thing that they're missing is a big body, both lengthwise and size-wise, to clog the paint. But other than that, they have the athletes and the length to be a top 80 defensive team. And they were that for a good portion of the season, but now they're in the low 100s, which is not acceptable. That is not okay. If their offense was not as good as it was, Iowa would be a far below sub 500 team. Anyways, that's my rant for the day on that. Total rebounds, 35 to 38. It's even more shocking, again, that Iowa won this game, considering Rutgers shot a better percentage from the field, and they won the rebounding battle. And they had more assists than Iowa. They had 23 assists compared to Iowa's 14 assists. The only thing that they did worse on was turnovers. They turned the ball over 6 more times than Iowa, and that probably was a major difference in this game. All right, guys, let's wrap this up. Let's look at the team sheet for the Iowa Hawkeyes. I believe this is going to go down as a quad 1 victory. Last year, Iowa was not good in quad 1 games, but they were very good everywhere else. They were excellent everywhere else. They were several games above 500 when it came to quad 2 games and quad 3 games. They just weren't good with quad 1. This year, they're actually pretty dang good with quad 1. The one thing that's hurting them is their terrible quad 4 loss. 5 quad 1 victories is somewhere near the top of the Big Ten, or not the Big Ten, in the country, folks. 5 quad 1 victories is up there. It's pretty high up there. I mean, that's a number you would expect out of a top 10 team in the country. So let's look here. Yeah, it looks like the Rutgers game is going to be, this win over Rutgers is going to be considered a quad 1 victory. So there you have it. You guys can see all the other on the left hand. This is quad 1 victories. On the right hand is quad 2. And then far right is quad 3 here where my mouse is. So there you guys have it. 3-2 quad 2, 5-5 in quad 1. With a net ranking of 42. Not bad. My final take on this is, in my opinion, Iowa is squarely in the NCAA tournament as of right now. 5 quad 1 victories is very difficult. I don't care. I mean, it does matter what your record is overall, but it's very hard to keep any team out of the NCAA tournament that has shown that they can beat quad 1 teams with such regularity as the Iowa Hawkeyes. It would be very, very difficult to keep a team out that has beaten teams, or excuse me, quad 1 teams with the same regularity that the Iowa Hawkeyes have. So to me, they're squarely in the NCAA tournament. They're probably anywhere from a 9 to an 11 seed right now in the NCAA tournament. I think there are many opportunities for Iowa to climb as high as 7 or 6, a 7 or 6 seed. So we will see some great opportunities coming up against Northwestern and Illinois. It looks like Northwestern is going to be a quad 2 game for Iowa. They need to get that victory. And I believe Illinois will be a quad 1 game for them. Yep. Illinois will be a quad 1 game for them. All right, folks, as I said before, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you guys want to donate, support your boys' coffee habit, you absolutely can. just hit the donation sign on this video here. And hang in there. Iowa's basketball season has been kind of up and down, but they are still on track to make the NCAA tournament for the 5th straight year in a row, which will be a nice feat in and of itself. And last but not least, DBAP, don't be a pussy willow and facts our feelings, because your feelings just don't matter. Love you guys. See you guys next time. Go Hawks. Bye-bye.